Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatre Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we'll be continuing chapter 7, the yoga of jnana, that is knowledge of Nirgun Brahma, and Vijnana, knowledge of manifest divinity. And we will be learning about condemnation of men of demonical nature and praise of the devotees. So let us continue chapter 7, verse 16. 4 types of devotees of noble deeds worship me, Arjuna. The seeker after worldly possessions, the afflicted, the seeker for knowledge, and the man of wisdom, O best of Bharatas. This is actually very true what Lord Shri Krishna is telling here to Arjuna. Who are the 4 kinds of devotees who worship Lord Shri Krishna? He's saying 4 types of devotees of noble deeds worship me, Arjuna. The first one is the seeker after worldly possessions. See, he's not telling people who, his devotees with demonical nature. He's talking about 4 types of devotees of noble deeds worship me. Means they have done some noble deeds in their life, and also they are not with the demonic nature. See, they come to the Lord because they are the devotees of the Lord. One is the seeker after worldly possessions. This is the first kind of a devotee who comes to the Lord and he seeks for worldly possessions. That could be marriage, job, money, wealth. I want the best car. I want to go abroad. It could be anything related to material worldly possessions. So this is the first kind of a devotee who comes to the Lord and, who worships the Lord. Then the second one is the afflicted. So there are devotees who have afflictions. It could be not just themselves, but their own relatives, their family, you name it. So it could be people who are suffering with some very, unique kind of disease or some sickness, illness, disease. It could be mental, physical, you name it. So these devotees are coming to the Lord so that the Lord can cure them of the afflictions. So they are the afflicted. The next kind of devotees are those who are the seeker for knowledge. And then there are other set of devotees, the third type, who come for knowledge. They are seeking knowledge. So they are the devotees of the Lord who worship Him. So it is when He says, the 4 types of devotees who worship me means the ones who worship Lord Shri Krishna. They don't go to anybody else. They only come to the Lord alone. That is Shri Krishna alone. So here is saying seeker for knowledge. They want knowledge. And that knowledge is about, okay, I want to learn. I want to go, do well in my life. So here when we say the knowledge, he's not talking about the spiritual knowledge. They are talking about the material worldly knowledge. And then the last one is the man of wisdom. So one who is wise, one who is already, a wise man, who has knowledge about the Brahman, knowledge about the divinity or spirituality. So these are the 4 types of devotees who worship Lord Shri Krishna. So let us continue. Of these, the best is the man of wisdom. That is very important. So the 4th one of these, the best is the man of wisdom, ever established in identity with me and possessed of exclusive devotion. For I am extremely dear to the wise man who knows me in reality, and he is extremely dear to me. So what is Lord Shri Krishna saying? See, there are 4 types of people who come to me and worship me. First one is somebody who wants possessions, wealth, money, everything else. Second one are those who are sick people, afflicted ones. Third one is who wants knowledge. Knowledge is not the spiritual knowledge. Knowledge is not about the truth about the self or God. They are the people who are asking for material worldly knowledge. The fourth are the wise, the people with wisdom. Okay. Now he's saying of all the four types of devotees, of these, the best is the man of wisdom ever established in identity with me. Why does he say that? Because please remember, the wise man, like I said, they're already the knowers of the truth. They have already attained God realization. They're always established in identity with Lord Sri Krishna. Please remember this. And they have exclusive devotion and possessed of exclusive devotion. They're only devoted to Lord Sri Krishna. They have nothing else in their world. Okay, you can take the example of Tukaram Maharaj, the great saints, like Mirabai, Kabir. All of these people had that exclusive devotion. Mirabai, she literally lived, and her last breath also was only taking the name of the divine Lord. Exclusive devotion. Even though she was the queen, she was married, but for her, she had accepted Lord Sri Krishna as her husband. That is the highest form of a devotion. And so he's saying here, why he's saying that they are the best of the devotees is because they have that single pointed exclusive devotion. They are not devoted to their mother, father, husband, wife, wealth, job. No, they are not devoted to any of these things in their world. Their goal and focus is only one thing, and that is Lord Sri Krishna. They are ever established in identity with him. They don't take him off the mind. For them, everything else is immaterial. Like Mirabai, she would keep singing beautiful bhajans. It says Meera bhajans. For Lord Sri Krishna, she would express her anguish, her pain, her love, everything that she felt for the divine through her beautiful poems. She used to sing those beautiful bhajans. And then what happens to her? She's constantly lost in that bliss. And then nothing affects for her in this world. Whether she has money, she doesn't have money, somebody is telling something to her, not telling to her, it doesn't matter to her at all. And that is why when she was offered the poison, she just drank it because it didn't matter to her. She knows her Lord is there. He will take care of it. But that poison turned Amrit because that is the level of devotion. She has completely merged in the divine Lord. So you think the Lord will ever let anything befall his devotees? Of course not. So Lord Sri Krishna turned that poison into Amrit, which is nectar. So that is the level of devotion we need to have. But what is the problem today? Today we are in the Kali Yuga. Our nature, the human nature is extremely fallible. You don't know when your ugly ego raises its head. That is why Lord Sri Krishna teaches here. He's teaching Arjuna. The Arjuna is you and me in this world. What is he teaching? He's teaching that let your mind constantly chant my name alone. Let it always be in identity with me. But you do your duties. Ever established in me. That is what he's teaching Arjuna. Don't worry about what is the outcome, what is going to happen to you, how things are going to work out. Do not bother about that. You just do what I'm asking you to do. Lift your bow and arrow and shoot. Fight the war. That is what he's saying. I am your charioteer. I am there to take care of you. Nothing will befall you. That is the conviction we need to have in the divine Lord. No matter how troublesome our life might be, the kind of sufferings and struggles are going to be there. My Guruji taught something very beautiful. The Mahabharata, whatever we are learning, it is happening in three realms. One is within ourselves, and the world outside. This life itself is the Mahabharata. It's all about struggles, battle. It's like you're fighting a war. You're going to overcome that, and then once you overcome that, then there's the next struggle that is there, which you have to fight and overcome. And the biggest struggle is within yourself. What is that war that we are fighting within? We are fighting our own demons. See, the God and the demon is within us alone. Can you imagine that? It is within us. So how do we kill those demons and realize God, attain the God realization or become divine being is the whole reason why we are learning Bhagavad Gita. How to attain that God realization state. How to first become a good human being. We have to overcome. See, this body, it has all those vasanas and tendencies, which is about anger, hatred, desire, greed, lust. You name it, envy, it envies, it's jealous, all the Shadripus. And then it's the mind. It's the mind. The mind's children are those, and we have to overcome that. The body has its vasanas and tendencies which has come from our previous births, and here is an opportunity for us to get rid of all those vasanas and tendencies. Let me tell you, it's very difficult. It's easy said than done. You know why? You need tremendous amount of effort. You need to not get angry with others or anybody. Like my Guruji was teaching something very beautiful from the teachings of Gondalve Maharaj. And in that he was teaching, the Maharaj has taught, why do we have to get angry with everything else in the world? First get angry with your own self, the thought. How can the mind think like that? So use that anger to kill those thoughts, that evil thoughts that comes within us. And then, seek the grace of the Guru and the God to overcome this challenge. I wouldn't even call challenge, but that is a part of your life. Overcome this demonic qualities within you, or demonic dispositions, demonic evil tendencies, evil nature of yours. Seek the grace, seek the blessing of your Guru to fight that and win over. So you have to get angry with such thoughts, telling the mind, why are you throwing such evil thoughts to me? Why not, give the divine thoughts so that I can evolve? Befriend your mind. So you have to fight them, fight these demons. There is no option in any one of us life. See, it's very easy to fall off the path, but it is very difficult to evolve. Go ahead, rise yourself and becoming that godly person. Having the divine propensities, divine dispositions. It's very difficult. Just one quality, if somebody does to you, it's very difficult to say nice thing about that person. See, this is human nature. But what does Bhagavad Gita teach us? Lord Shri Krishna tells one very beautiful lesson. He says, it doesn't matter what the world does to you. It doesn't matter how they behave. See, they are going to face the repercussions themselves. My universe is not going to spare them. Why do you want to dirty your mouth, your mind? And why are you wasting your energy on these kind of things and getting into a karmic loop with these individuals? Why do you need it? Because if you say something, then it means that you have already created a karma, and that has to be repaid back. Why do we need to create? This is what the Guru also teaches, so that we don't create karmas and we avoid creating any further karmas in our life. Isn't it enough that we are already suffering for all our misdemeanors that we have created in our past lives, and also currently we are creating karma? So the Guru teaches through this beautiful scripture how to not create any further karma and how to do something beautiful so that you can have a better future lives. This is exactly what Lord Shri Krishna is teaching, and he manifests in the form of a master. My Krishna Guruji. The word Krishna is not Krishna Guru. Guruji it's not just come like that. He is the very essence of Lord Shri Krishna, and he's a Guru. Just the way how Lord Shri Krishna in this scripture has taught Arjuna in the battlefield. What is the chariot all about? How he's just teaching us how to, go the right path. It's about the right knowledge, right tools and right direction. That is exactly what the way of life means. Today, what is missing within all of us is the right knowledge. And this is exactly what my Krishna Guruji is teaching all of us. But it's very difficult to imbibe the good lessons and be godly and live those lessons in our world. It's very easy to fall off the path. You know why? Excuse me. It's very easy to fall off the path simply because, just one trigger is required. If you think something is wrong, somebody has done something to you, a little bit of anger is all it takes, and then everything gets destroyed. It's very easy. Anger actually destroys us more than destroying the world. It's like a destructive weapon. It's a self-destructive weapon. And in the earlier chapter, Lord Shri Krishna has taught two important things. He told, in this very life, when this body exists itself, you must control the provocations or the cause which is trying to make you get angry. You have to be able to control it. That is what he said. Why are you getting in the entanglement? You have to control in this very life before this body dies. It leaves this worldly existence. That is something you have to control. And if you don't control, then you have failed. The urges of lust and anger, the urges, why should you fall for the urges of that anger and lust? And if you can't control, see, lust comes first, then comes anger. And then comes the desire, fear, and all other things. But first is lust. It's an urge. And that is going to be put in front of you. Can you control it? Can you control your anger? Why do you need to get angry? Because anger is the doorway to hell. There are 6, things, the Shadripus. There are 6 demonic qualities, the evil qualities, which are the doorways to hell. Why do we need to? And anger is the number 1. Anger, greed, avarice, jealousy, hatred, everything, you name it. And then what happens? You're sanctioning yourself many more lives, which is, you're going to be born again, not just human being. You can sanction yourself any other life as well. So you're sanctioning yourself many rebirths, birth and death, birth and death. Why do you need to get into that cycle of it? Then you get entangled to eternity. So here he's saying the best of the devotee is one who's a wise man, one who has already realized me, one who has the knowledge of the Parabrahman. And he is established in identity with me at all times, in oneness with me, and has exclusive devotion. For I am extremely dear to the wise man who knows me in reality. What is he saying? For I am extremely dear. He's extremely dear to the wise man who knows him in reality, and he is extremely dear to me. He's saying, Lord Shri Krishna is saying, this wise man is extremely dear to me. It's both the way, vice versa. So the Lord loves him so much. He's very dear to him. Why? Because he's constantly thinking of him. He has single-pointed devotion. But in the material world, do you have? Today, you know what? No matter what work you take, whether it is even in your material world, no matter what you're doing, whether it is cooking, cleaning, your office work, the single-pointed devotion doesn't exist. Your focus, the amount of time that you can focus on any subject, this has come down. The span of attention is too small. Today, people cannot concentrate for a long time and, single-pointedly work on any subject. Their mind is running like a wild horse. It's going in different directions. You're not able to focus. You don't have attention. Today, people, those sit on meetings, beyond 15 minutes, you can't have their attention. You have already lost them. So what is happening? That we don't have control over our mind. Why? Because we don't have that single-pointed devotion to anything in our world. And here he's saying, Lord Shri Krishna is telling, when you are a devotee who's established in identity at all times and have single-pointed devotion, then you will be in oneness with me. Then you will sleepwalk anything that you do in this world. Then you're not going to feel the burden. Then you're not going to think, oh, how am I going to do this work? You will just sleepwalk it. You will be on autopilot, and this is what we miss out. And when you use your mind, you find everything difficult, everything is tough. That is what happens to you. And then you will be dejected, completely given up. Then you are going to perform. The performance level is going to be below average. Forget about mediocrity. Mediocrity also doesn't thrive today. Yeah, when mediocrity thrives, the mediocre people are those who are high performers. But the below average people, they have already sunken beyond. So what is high performance today? How do you measure your performance? Your standards are very low. That's what happens. Like I was talking to my Guruji. My Guruji was saying something very beautiful. I told him, I aspire to be like you. You're my ultimate goal. He said, you can do better than me. Why are you even limiting yourself? You believe that you can become better than me. That's exactly what he says. Why are you limiting your own standards? Set a highest goal, and then you will at least make somewhere in the midway. But if you set very low goals, you're going to perform even below average, right? So what is the level you want? So then to that he said, you just have to become the best version of yourself and have a high goal. Say, I will do better than my Guruji. That is what I want. That was a very profound lesson. But today, do you think we are capable of setting such a high standards for ourselves? No. And who can do this? You yourself will have to do it. Nobody can do that for you. It's all about self-effort. You have to uplift yourself through your own self-effort. And that is why Lord Shri Krishna says, yourself is your own best friend and yourself is your own worst enemy also. Either you can rise above or fall down. Falling down is very easy. Why? Because we are in the Kali Yuga. Tamas is predominant. Everybody today is influenced very strongly by inertia. The inertia in them is not going to allow them to lift them at all. So that's a big challenge. So you have to drive yourself. You have to motivate. You have to be highly inspired to do something in this world for yourself and for the people in this world as well. So next, continue. Indeed, all these are noble, but the man of wisdom is my very self. Such is my view. For such a devotee who has his mind and intellect merged in me, is firmly established in me alone as the highest goal. How beautiful. That's exactly what he's saying again. What is he saying? He said already that this is the devotee of me I am very dear to him and he is very dear to me. And saying, indeed, all these are noble. All these are noble indeed, okay? The man of the wisdom is my very self. What is he saying? The man of the wisdom is my very self, which means I am him alone. So it's an essence of me alone over there. So you can't see anybody else. It is just me, is my very self. Such is my view. Such is my view. So he's not saying this is what the sages said, this is what the wise men said. No, he's saying it is my view. Whose view is it? Lord Shri Krishna's view. And he's saying, such a man of wisdom is my very self. Wow. When I say self, that's the lower self. Which means what? They are already a divine being because they're full of goodness. Goodness means they are merged in the divine Lord. They're full of love. They're full of devotion. They are not thinking, anything is good in the world or bad in the world. They only see God in everybody. That's the highest state to be in, but very difficult to achieve. And you have to strive hard. What does he say? You have to practice gradually, through gradual practice. Every single day you have to make an effort. The effort has to be phenomenal. Otherwise you can't win in this Kali Yuga. For such a devotee who has his mind and intellect merged in me, is firmly established in me alone as the highest goal. So what happens to such a devotee? For such a devotee, he has his mind and intellect merged in the Lord. See, it's very clear. Merged in me. Me means he's referring to Lord himself, Shri Krishna. Is firmly established in me alone has the highest goal. So what is his highest goal? To be in oneness with the divine Lord at all times. Can we achieve this? Just imagine, observe your mind. Your mind cannot be focused on any subject for more than a second also, because there's a dime a dozen thoughts that is going on. You're getting very angry, irritated. It tries to put too many thoughts. It causes too much of disturbance. You're not able to focus. Why? Because you're not practicing. You've never tried. Gradual practice, self-effort, all these are very important. And if you don't do it, then what happens? You will fail. But here Lord is saying, it is possible. But you need to first meditate upon me. In the sense, be established with me. Have that single-pointed devotion. In yesterday's, the previous satsang we did, the only way for one to break over this tamo guna, all three gunas, and be established is, what did he say? He said, so the devotees who constantly adore me alone are able to cross it. Who is able to cross it? The devotees who constantly adore him. Otherwise, it's very difficult. And the wild men of evil deeds do not adore me. The rest of the world doesn't adore Lord Shri Krishna. So you have to be the devotee of the Lord. Otherwise, there is no way out of this material worldly existence. You're always going to be stuck in the veil of the Maya. Maya is nothing but is the veil of the Lord himself. So it's a veil, it's an illusion. You're going to be stuck, you're going to be entangled. How do you release yourself? There's only one way, only through exclusive devotion to Lord Shri Krishna. One who adores me, with single-pointed devotion. There is no other way at all. So let us continue. In the very last of all births, the enlightened person worships me by realizing that all this is God. Such a great soul is very rare indeed. Absolutely. What did I say? This wise being sees God in everybody. And he said, that being is my very self alone. So it is him who has manifested as well, very self of the Lord Shri Krishna himself. But what is the problem? In the very last of all births, this enlightened person worships me. Me is Lord Shri Krishna. By realizing, what is the realization that he has had or she has had? That all this is God alone. All this is God. This entire creation is nothing but the divine Lord himself. But to see God in everybody is the very difficult thing. It's very, very, very tough. Till you have not enlightened yourself, till you have not had the God realization, it's extremely difficult to see God in everybody. My Guruji will always test, can you see God in that person? I said, not at this moment in time. Very difficult. Imagine somebody is saying something bad to you and still you are able to see the divine Lord. How would you see? No, your mind will not allow you to see. But why? Because you have not become enlightened. You have not realized that divinity. You have not been able to establish that oneness with the divine Lord. You don't have that single pointed devotion. Until the time you don't achieve all of that, you can't see God in everybody. I told you there's a very beautiful story. Once in a monastery, a monk was going out. Suddenly a mob comes and beats him black and blue. And then the passerby sees this monk completely beaten to death, tries to offer him some milk. And all the other monks, his brothers, come running to save him. And then once he gains, they give him some milk so that he can regain his consciousness. And once he gains the consciousness, the other monks ask him, who beat you? So he says, the one who gifted me is the one who beat me. How beautiful is that? The one who gave me the milk, who fed me the milk is the one who also beat me. What is he saying? It is God. He sees God in everybody. Then they understood, oh my God, this monk is a realized being. To have that kind of realization is very, very rare. That is what Lord Shri Krishna is saying. Such a great soul is very rare indeed. It is not easy at all. Can you see God in the people whom you dislike, who you think are the villains in your life? Can you see God in them? Absolutely not. It is very difficult. It's very challenging. We think they are the people who we hate the most. But why do you need to have hate, love, all these pairs of opposites? Please remember, everything is as per our karmic debt. We are meeting those people because of our own karma. So you can't do anything. The world is programmed in a certain way. My Guruji has written a very beautiful note on his desk, and he has stuck it there. He says it's a God's sweet will. So everything happens by the will of the divine Lord. The day we accept, day we have this realization, we are not going to feel happy, sad, bad, good, ugly. None of these things are going to affect us. We will then be able to understand that everything is happening because of the will of the divine Lord. Everything is happening because the Lord wants it that way. So it's not me who determines anything, or it's not somebody else who's making it happen. It is it's God's sweet will alone. And that is the lesson which has to get embedded within us. But what is the problem? The problem is, because you're not still firm within yourself with this knowledge, the mind keeps instigating you against everything. So what it will instigate? Oh, see, your God is being favoring all these other people. It's very easy to fall prey to your mind. Your mind will want you to go away from the God, from that single pointed devotion. And that is what is the mind's job. But you should not fall prey for that. It's very, very easy to fall prey. So don't ever do that. Try not to fall prey to what your mind is instigating. So my Guruji gave a very beautiful mantra. He says, when all the bitterness is going on, just pray to Lord Shri Krishna saying, Krishna, I love you a lot. I really love you. I'm so much in love with you. The mind is instigating me against you. Can you please, take care of me? That's all. I love you. I love you. When you keep saying that, you become that love. Lord will, He's always ever waiting for you to come to Him. His hand is always there. You just take His hand and go up, go ahead in the life. Progress on your path. And He's there to save you. So why bother? Don't listen to your mind. Like my Guruji gave this beautiful lesson saying, you should be angry with your mind. So why is it trying to give such bad thoughts? And use the same anger to win over it. But that requires tremendous amount of self-effort. It doesn't happen so easily. See, these beautiful lessons is easy said than done. But why are we making an effort to learn that someday we will get there? Someday we will be able to achieve. But it should not become too late. When we have that beautiful opportunity to, make ourselves a divine being and make our Guruji proud, we should not lose that opportunity. It's no use when you become great after he leaves the body and goes away. My Guruji will always say, every Guru's dream is to see his disciple or devotee, reach that greatness. And then he can very proudly say, I made them. But that is the opportunity we will have to give him. But if we don't live his lessons, how does our Guruji become great? That is what happens. So we have to make the divine great, not the devil great. But what happens? We make the devil win. That is not correct. And that is something you have to yourself contemplate and realize. That is why it is called self-realization. Nobody can give you this realization from outside. But please remember, like today, it is a beautiful opportunity for both of us. God has given this wonderful opportunity that I am able to do this satsang. But the I in me doesn't have knowledge. These are the words of the divine wisdom. Lord Shri Krishna himself is narrating this beautiful Bhagavad Gita through me. I don't know Bhagavad Gita. I don't have a knowledge. And it is a beautiful opportunity for you and me to learn. That's what it is. We're all learning. And we have to journey our own path. We have to focus on our own progress. And our goal is one alone. That we have to attain God realization. What does that mean? We want to realize Krishna. We want to attain Lord Shri Krishna. And how? And our goal is we have to make our Guruji's teaching shine within us. The world has to see who Lord Shri Krishna is. Who is our Guru? They have to recognize through the way we live. That is called making our divine Lord and Guru great. So let us continue. And that has to be our highest goal. Please remember. So, those whose wisdom has been carried away by various desires, being prompted by their own nature, worship other deities, adopting norms relating to each. Again, what is he saying? See, in the earlier verse, he said, such a great soul is very rare indeed. What does that mean? That is, nobody today, sees God in every other human being. No, we don't see that. The next is saying, those whose wisdom has been carried away by various desires. So what happens? See, desires are the root cause of all our miseries. That is something we have to understand. What is driving a human being is the unfulfilled desires. Why is someone bitter? Why is someone angry? Why is someone feeling jealous? Why is somebody hating somebody? Everything is because of the unfulfilled desires. First of all, what is there to desire? Why are you even having desires? The moment you have desires, you're going to be a miserable human being. You're going to suffer like hell. See, at the end of the day, whatever God has to give you, whatever has to come to you as per your karma, you're anyways going to get it. So why bother? Why do you have to worry about it? Why do you need to feel bitter? We always end up being that bitter human being, thinking that I didn't get this, I didn't get that, constantly blaming, bickering, complaining, whining. That's what we are. But where is the goodness? Can we not be thankful, grateful, and show some gratitude for everything that God has given us? He has saved from lot of things from happening. He has averted those destiny. Because we are associated with the great master himself, the great Lord, in the form of a guru. We are very blessed to have the privilege of having a guru. It's a rare thing. And when we have him, why do we have to think otherwise? We can't see what the Guru and God does. Please remember one thing. We always feel there's a lacuna in the system. The God is giving everybody else in the world except me. That is how we think. We should not think like that. What has to come to you will come to you, and everything happens at the God's appointed timing. That is the perfect time. It's not when you and I want it. There is something called God's appointed timing, and that is what we have to follow. Our time and His time is not one and the same, because we procrastinate too much. And the Lord's way of doing things is very unique. And that is something we have to understand and realize and accept. So, can we stay away from our desires? See, please remember, He's saying very beautifully here, those whose wisdom has been carried away by various desires, being prompted by their own nature. What is happening? Being prompted. Who is prompting you? By your own nature. Worship other deities. So, the adopting norms relating to each. So these people worship other deities. See, he's saying the ultimate goal should be Lord Sri Krishna. But because of your desires, you end up going and worshipping other deities, adopting norms relating to each. So every deity, see the small God, whether you worship Lord Shiva, Ganesha, Lakshmi, Saraswati, they are only deities. They are a function of the divine. They may handle his small functions. But please remember, when you go and worship these deities, why? Because you have some desires. You're going and asking, with all these gods, I need this, I need that. That is why you're worshipping. And what are you doing? Adopting norms relating to each. So which means you're going to go and do all the rituals, all the practices, the norms. Oh, I have to say, recite this mantra, that mantra, do this pariharam, that pariharam. I think I might have said my own life story n number of times, but I'm going to repeat once more. Maybe that will also give you an understanding. Before my Guruji found me, rather I met him, I was also going to so many different temples and doing all these things, exactly what is mentioned here. I was adopting norms relating to each of the deity. Do this puja, do that pariharam, do this nivaharana, some dosha pariharam, all the nonsensical things that exist on this planet Earth, I've gone and done. And then what happens? Because I want something. What was driving me to do that was the desires. My various desires. And it has just completely carried away. I want a good job, I want to get married, I want to make millions, billions, I want to become the CEO of a company. There are too many desires, endless. And then what happens? You're running from one temple to the other, to the other, to the other. You believe in everything that the world is talking about. You go into astrology, somebody's saying, go pray here, pray there, do this, do that. And finally, what happened? Did I get any sanctions? No, it doesn't work like that. I was completely a delusion. I got into delusions. I don't know what was happening. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no control over my mind. And this is exactly what happens. We adapt too many things in our world, not having any knowledge about it. Why we are doing, what are the repercussions of doing those actions? What happens if the pariharams don't work? A lot of things that go wrong. Because we don't have knowledge, we blindly follow. But why do you blindly follow? Because you're given into your desires. And then we go to ruins. Then we can't attain Lord Sri Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna can never be found in any of these deities. Please remember. The only way of attaining him is through exclusive devotion. You need to have single-pointed devotion to him. But if you're going to go to each of the devotees and doing the practices relating to these the deities, then you are not going to be able to achieve anything in your life. On the contrary, you will become a slave to each of these deities. They will bless you with whatever you want, but you're going to become a slave, bound by them. Why do you need? You also will end up in a karmic loop with them. So don't do this. And that is what Lord Sri Krishna is giving an understanding. How does this work? What happens when your wisdom is carried away by your various desires? Then how you end up into all these nonsensical things in this world? That is what he said. So, what is the crux of saying this here is that we should not go into those, practices, rituals and become addicted to that. Then what happens, you will not know what is right, what is wrong, See, right and wrong again is very different from a material worldly perspective. But in spiritual, how will you evolve? You can't evolve. You will be in that chakra view. It's like it's a web. It's a cobweb. You will get stuck in that. You are entangled in that. You don't know how to get out of it. That is exactly what happens. And my own story, it took me many years to realize. Finally, before meeting my Guruji, I was also following all these things what Lord Shri Krishna has mentioned. This is this is the story of every human being who are running after their desires. I know too many people in my world, be it my friends, my relatives, everybody, who believe in this astrology, horoscope, and too many the natal charts, and go and do all these pujas, the rituals. I was talking to one of my friends recently. She says, "Oh, this year is very bad to me." One of the astrologers told me. I said, "What? Why are you believing in all that? Please remember, whatever trouble you might be going through, whether it is a period of good or bad, it is all because of your karma. The day you understand this truth, you will not follow anything like that. You will just do your job. You will have that single pointed devotion to the Divine Lord, and you will just go on the path. And then you'll surrender everything to Him. You'll just say, Lord, please take care of me. I have completely surrendered to you. I know whatever is happening is because of my karma. Give me the strength to face my life and walk the path." That is what you will seek. But you will not go and do these things. So my friend was telling, I was literally aghast. I told her, you know what, I've been there. I've done all of this. Why are you getting into that, that loop? Why are you getting into that cobweb of life? Don't get into that space at all. Because then somebody is going to tell you, "Oh, now you give me 10,000 rupees, I will do this ritual for you. Then all your, the planets, all doshas, whatever the planets which is affecting your life right now, I will sort it out." Please remember, no natal chart, no planet, nobody can change your destiny. Your karma cannot be altered. The only thing you might get is when you go to these deities and follow their norms, they will sanction whatever you might be asking, but that comes at a cost. That comes with a price. So please remember, you're not getting anything free. There is no free lunch even in God's heaven. So why do you want to get into that? And that is a huge loop which we don't understand. This is all the spiritual significance. The truth behind it is never understood by us. So why do we get entangled into that when you have no knowledge? But this is what is called the world of Maya. Because of our various desires, the Lord is saying here, I'm not even saying this, it is mentioned in this beautiful scripture. Because of this various desires, our wisdom, those whose wisdom has been carried away by various desires, being prompted by their own nature. Who's prompting it? Your own nature. Worship other deities, adopting norms relating to each. And then forever you are in that, you're stuck in that loop, and there is no getting out till the time, with grace, some life of yours, you meet your Guru. And when he opens your eye, the enlightenment with knowledge, the right knowledge, the truth, and if you're able to understand, then you will give up on all these things. Not until then. So don't fall prey to any of this. People wear all these sunstone, moonstone, I don't know, whatever nonsensical stones they wear, and they spend so much of money on some amulets, saying, "Oh, it protects me from evil eye. It protects me from something bad happening." I don't know if that was the case. When you have the Divine Lord, please remember, His grace is the firewall around you. Nothing can touch you. That is the amount of faith and devotion you need to have. That is what Lord Shri Krishna is saying. That I am ever taking care of you. Nothing shall befall my devotees. He has said this, and he is going to say this many times in Bhagavad Gita. You just have to have that conviction and surrender yourself to Him. Don't fall prey to this. It is dangerous. So with that, we will end our satsang here today and continue from verse 21 in our next satsang. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna and to Arjuna. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shri Pad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunatha Natha Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.